This episode of It's Called Soccer is brought to you by Allstate.
So it's that time of year again. It's Christmas, and we've got each other a present.
Yeah, we wish everyone watching, by the way, and all our viewers and all our listeners, a very Merry Christmas.
Oh, that's
well. But it is the season of goodwill, and I mean, I think it's time to share. I mean, you've wrapped this beautifully. Thank you so much. A little bit of an exchange of gifts.
Thank
you want to open first, or are we just doing it at the same time?
I think we go simultaneous.
Okay, simultaneous.
I'm too excited.
They weigh similar. They do weigh similar. I'm not going to lie. Oh, look at this! Oh my goodness. It has to be done. You see, the citizen now is in town. Did you get one? Did you get Neville on the back? Will you look
How
at that?
can I fit in that though? I can't wear that. Gee, what size do you think I am?
Yeah.
That's optimistic.
You got into the Christmas sweater.
I did get into the Christmas sweater. But that's very small. That's
will
very nice.
You wear a slim fit? Will you wear an American shirt? Would you ever wear an American shirt?
I'd wear that to go to the gym and train and stuff.
And get sweaty in. Love it.
I'd wear that in summer as well. Of course I would, if it fit me.
Well, thank you, Gary. That's so kind.
Thank you very much, Rebecca.
Put that on my door.
So.
It's been brilliant so far this season on It's Called Soccer. And we've got a few best bits, Gary.
Have we got best bits?
Not you and I, but the show. Here they are. We are starting way back in week 1, where Gary caught up with the new US men's national team head coach, Mauricio Pochettino.
It's a momentous day. We're launching It's Called Soccer, our US podcast, but what timing. We're actually off to a convention centre where the US men's coach, Mauricio Pochettino, is being unveiled to the media, and it happened to coincide with the day that we're launching this, which is incredible.
I would like to officially welcome Mauricio Pochettino.
I am really happy to be here because I think it's an amazing project and challenge.
For the US team to get him, it's massive. It was calming. It's the first time I've sat in a press conference since Valencia, and it was certainly very different. First interview, honestly, we've got New York in the background. Yeah, this is how we do it, isn't it? We don't mess around. How are you?
You?
You're good, I'm very good.
Good.
Mauricio, thank you so much for joining us, and I just watched your press conference there. How was that in comparison to the press conferences of the last 2 jobs that you've had?
I think it was really positive. It was so nice. I feel a very warm welcome. Yes, I think it was completely different than the last 2 jobs.
Just take us back to the very first time that someone called you and said that the US Federation want you as the coach. When did that happen?
2 months ago, Matt called me, Matt Carragher, the sporting director here in the national team USA. And he called me and said, look, Mauricio, what do you think about that? Oh, I am open to listen. And from there, we start to build, the relationship, and also with the CEO and the president of the federation. And yes, we built a very good relationship in 2 months, and on the end, we finished in a very good terms.
What happened in that 2 months? Why has it taken a little bit longer? It seemed to be an age before it was announced.
No, for different reasons. I think because I was in Barcelona, they were here, busy with the Olympics Games situation, transfer window. I think too many things involved in the situation that make always delayed. But I think it was 2 months, but on the end was normally, to spend this amount of time to agree something.
You're one of the most famous and best coaches in the world. When you left Chelsea, did you think, I know what I want to do next? Or do you wait for the phone to ring and then follow the opportunity? How does it work for you?
No, being honest, when we finished in Chelsea, we were thinking with Jesus and the coaching staff in the possibility to manage, a national team. USA was one of the in our mind, and when I arrived, I think, and then everything started to build in a very good way. I think we said that is the right project to join.
Was it a case of you'd fallen out of love a little bit with club football, or did you just think the timing's right? I've had 4 or 5 really prominent roles.
I think because the timing is right for us. I think in our career, I think after Chelsea, it's refreshing,
Yeah.
you know. And now going to the national is that you challenge yourself. We challenge ourselves and say, come on, go to USA, you know, learn different system, different culture, all completely different.
Yeah.
And come on, be intelligent and clever and try to perform also and to be successful in a national team.
Was it as simple as you've got this amazing country that have got the World Cup in 2 years, and the connection to go to a World Cup with the host nation was just too big a sort of opportunity for you to turn down? Was that the biggest draw?
No, I think it was one of the key factors, no, to have the World Cup here in less than 2 years. And you know that in 22 months you are going to have the possibility to play a World Cup. I think the timing was perfect. If you say to me, design the plan into showing, you know, a national team like USA, that was perfect, you know, timing. And that for me was one of the key factors. Another is because always you see USA, it's massive, big, in all the sport, compete for win, great athlete. Women team is the best, one of the best. Emma is one of the best coach, you know, and that also was another key factor. It's a challenge, no, because I like this type of challenge to say, come on, why not to match, you know, the women team? Why not to provide, you know, the men team this capacity to compete better? Because I think we have good players, they play good football, but if you want to win, you need to compete better, and that is maybe what we can add, you know, to them to help, you know, to compete better and to have the possibility to win big trophies.
In episode 2, the head coach of the Portland Timbers, Phil Neville, dialed in to talk about the pride of playing with his brother Gary and also about a certain tattoo.
Phil, I'm sure you've been asked this question before, but lots of people listening will be the first time they've actually seen you guys together on a podcast and heard you together. How special was that to achieve everything that you achieved in the game? So many massive moments, to do it with your brother standing next to you.
Yeah, I think that was bigger than the medals itself for me, bigger than the trophies that we won, bigger than playing for the club that we played for, that we loved, was the fact that I got to do it with my brother. And I think because we're so close, what it probably meant to my mum and dad, you know, every time we would go to a game, prepare for a game, come off after a game, the look on their faces was just something that I actually miss still to this day. They were so proud of us. It was their dream to see their obviously children play for the club that they loved. And like I say, that the memories and the photos of us winning are far more important, because every photo that we ever had together was probably, because I wouldn't say we're the most probably emotionally tied brothers, but I think every time we won a game or we did something, we were always the first ones to have a picture together. And I think those are the memories that I probably hold on to more than the medals that I actually won.
Obviously, it's a great story. You've just mentioned the family connection there, but you're both in the same position. And that must have, you know, it's not like you're competing for the same position. So, I mean, how tough was that when one was picked ahead of the other? How did the other one take that? How did that affect your family as well going to the game?
Do you know, I think it affected my mum a lot. All my dad wanted was Man United to win, whether we played or not. He was so sort of like cold in that respect. If we came off after the game and I'd say he didn't play and we'd won, he was having a beer and he was like, you know, we've won the game, just get on with it, son. Where my mum, she would obviously have to celebrate with one and probably try and pick up the other one. I never felt it affected sort of like our relationship. I never felt once we were in the club that it affected us. I wanted Gary to do well, sometimes more than myself, and I know how he felt about me. So that was never the problem. The problem was probably my mum and dad. My mum suffered a lot, particularly when I went to Everton and we were playing against each other. She would just not come to the game. She hated it. She hated the fact that we were competing against each other. She hated the fact that we were probably, one of us was going to be happy, one of us was going to be sad, because she just wanted us to be together and happy all the time. So I think it affected the family more than it did actually me and Gary.
Yeah, I think the two times that I remember sort of it becoming not a problem, but the first time was for when the 1996 FA Cup final, I was probably the more senior at that time. I was playing for England and I was obviously sort of doing quite well. I played for England for 12 months and I got left out of the 96 Cup final, and Phil played with Dennis Irwin. So Phil, you played left back, didn't you? And Dennis played right back.
Yeah.
And that was like a massive shock to me at that time, that sort of I'd been left out the last couple of games of the season. So Phil played in the league title decider at Middlesbrough away in 96, and then the week after in the cup final. And that was hard, you know what I mean? Because you'd sort of like played for 12 months and obviously he was your younger brother. But Phil was like unbelievable in that season towards the end. And then the other one was towards the end when Phil just got more tired of being left out, I think, just gradually season by season, didn't you? You always played like 30, 35 matches, but you felt that you wanted to play every single week, and then obviously you just knew that disappointment of him not playing was getting more to the point where he was saying, I'm going to need to leave here, I'm going to need to go and make that jump and get out of United because I want to be a regular every single week. So it was a little bit tougher towards the end when Phil, I suppose, didn't accept the fact that he was going to be playing 30, 35 matches and he wanted to play 45, 50 if you like, or just be a regular. I think it was more about the actual pride, wasn't it, of if you being a regular starter in a team.
Well, I think I still felt I was better than the players that were playing at that time. I know.
You're talking about Gary?
The Clebersons, the Jembas were coming.
It's a question you've been asked a million times, but I always think it's a good one for people. The best day as a player, the best memory as a player was what?
99. Without a doubt. The 99 10 days was the best 10 days of my life. Our family's always been sort of like against anything like tattoos, and I actually got a tattoo on my arm with the 99 season sort of like on my arm. It was just the best 10 days.
Do you still not speak to each other? I mean,
no.
you must have been brothers.
I think, to be fair, that the criteria for speaking to each other is if we do pass away. I think at that point we'll probably get the families.
I will speak at your funeral, I promise. I will speak at you. I'll have some really good stories as well. I was in Miami and it was my birthday, and Bex had invited me round to his apartment for evening meal, and when we went round there was a tattoo artist there doing a tattoo for David and his boy, and I decided to get a 99 tattoo, and it took me about a year to tell my mum, and I obviously haven't told Gary yet, because we were just anti-tattoos, but 99 was the best.
Let's see it.
Phil, can you show us, please? Can you show us this tattoo? Show us the tattoo. This is a global unvailing. It
looks like
it
looks like 1893.
It probably does. Beck stitched me up and put another year on. It's the year he sacked me, I think he put on. So.
In this next clip, Gary and I discuss his debut on NBC alongside me and those infamous promo reads.
Right, you mentioned the NBC shows this past weekend. It was lovely having you and your Marks and Spencer's bags of goodies. It was lovely having you there. Now you've had a couple of days to think about it all. What was it? Is it different? How different is it from what you've done? Okay, there's no need to your...
No, the Sunday show was very similar to what we do in England, I think. Yep. Obviously, we weren't on site, but it was very similar in terms of its structure. Coming on air an hour before, obviously starting the show, I think, were we on air at 7:30 in the morning?
On which day? Sunday or Saturday? Sunday we're on air at 8. 8.
So 8 o'clock in the morning, so we were up at, obviously, we were in the studio, I worked with for 6, so it's obviously different, but that worked for me because I'm up early generally and the sort of time difference worked. Saturday was a real thrill because obviously in England we don't get the 3 o'clock games that we had, obviously, to be able to watch. But we have Soccer Saturday in England where obviously you've got the team sat behind the screens and they're just talking about the game, but you can't see the pictures. We were almost doing that, but could see the pictures, and obviously the fans at home in America can see the pictures. And it just made me think how mad it is that obviously we have this blackout, which is historic in England, and I'm not going to discuss it now because I know it's a sort of point that's really people are passionate about, and it's always protected. But around the world, when you go over and watch the 3 o'clock kickoffs, and being on obviously those 3 o'clock kickoffs meant that there were goals going in left, right and centre, and you're obviously having to watch these goals and then you're having to commentate on them at half time. It was me and Robbie Earle, so that was very different, I have to say, and that was quite an early start, wasn't it? Because the 12:30 obviously is like a 7:30 kickoff. So we were in the studio at 5, weren't we? 5 o'clock in the morning.
One of my favourite moments of the weekend was when we were divvying up, for everyone who's listening, as you know, we have 4 or 5 or 6 games in that 10 Eastern window, and we were divvying up who was going to do which game, and Gary got Brentford Wolves, which at the time was like, okay, yeah, Brentford Wolves, no problem, 5-3. He's there doing a shot sheet, a highlight that he doesn't do normally, and it's 8 goals, and 6 of them at half-time, in the quickest half-time show ever. It's like a train, isn't it, going through a million stations at the rate of knots, and there you are doing 5-3.
Yeah, and I'm there doing something that, to be fair, I've never done before in my life.
No.
I knew this was going to be the most testing, obviously, thing for me because, you know, obviously watching games and then doing a goal or 2 at half time, but having to do sort of the 5 games, I think I was doing 2 or 3 of them, wasn't I, at half time?
Yeah.
So Brentford Wolves, there were 6 goals in the first half, and we had about basically 45 seconds. I've got this sheet in front of me, so you've got to remember who's assisted, who's crossed it, who's scored, who's fouled, and I'm like. And in the end, I've sort of got my glasses on and I'm looking at this sheet and I'm thinking, in the end, I don't even think I was actually saying the right goal scorer. I'm not quite sure what came out of my mouth.
You know what I was impressed with? That you brought notes into the studio. You had a proper old-fashioned exercise book and pen.
Rebecca, honestly, that is the first time that I have written notes and brought a notepad for a game of football for a long, long time.
Well, actually, even more impressed than I was with your pen and paper was with your promo reading in America. We have a lot of I have a lot of promos to read. Sunday Night Football, one that caught your eye, The Voice, another, and you know, I think it was just Sunday. You just thought, you know what? I think I can do these, Rebecca, and so you did them.
But what a game we have for you tonight. Tonight, 2 of the most storied franchises in NFL history meet as the Cowboys head to Pittsburgh to visit the Steelers on Sunday Night Football. Coverage begins with Football Night in America at 7 p.m. Eastern on NBC and streaming on Peacock.
Oh, with reads like that, you'll be on that next time you come.
You're doing all the reading and you're sort of, I'm thinking, just let's get involved, give us a touch of the ball a little bit. So basically, you know, the idea that we can just sort of do a little bit of host presenting. I mean, we're not presenters by any stretch of the imagination, but it just gives us a little bit of a feeling, a bit of pressure. And actually, I felt under pressure, by the way. Announcing Snoop Dogg on Voice goes down as one of my probably broadcasting highlights.
Well, this is one of my absolute favourite programmes back in England where we have will.i.am amongst others, and you all enjoyed watching Snoop Dogg this summer at the Paris Olympics, and now he's back for The Voice in the US. Watch him with Michael Bublé as new coach. He's on season 26 tomorrow at 8:7.
I went over by 12 seconds on the read because I started talking about it being my favourite programme in the UK, and I watched will.i.am and Liam Rimes has joined and Tom Jones.
I was like, where's he going? Where's he going?
But in the US, you have basically Snoop Dogg, and you're joined by Michael Bublé. It's on at 8/7 on Eastern Time, and all that sort of stuff. I was just riffing. I was having a good time.
The former head coach of the US men's national team, Jurgen Klinsmann, joined the show to talk to us about life in Los Angeles and the honour of coaching the United States.
So great to have you on.
Huge pleasure to be on. Thank you.
So where are you coming to us from today? Where are you? What's happening?
No, I'm at the moment in Los Angeles. That's where we actually live as a family since 26 years. We moved over to LA in 1998 after the World Cup in France and raised our 2 kids, a son and a daughter in California, basically. But obviously, because of football, I still travel the world and I'm still on the road a lot of times. But the home base has always been Los Angeles.
Everyone's in California and I'm still in Manchester. I think I'm going wrong somewhere.
Yeah.
Get the memo, Gary. Come on.
Got a place for you here. No problem, Gary.
You're in the United States, very much a German American now, which was kind of the theme, actually, of the US men's national team under you back in 2014 when you took that job. Just take us back. How do you reflect now on your work as the head coach of the US men's national team?
Yeah, I mean, looking back, a wonderful experience. And there's been on and off the pitch has been, just a huge learning curve. You know, I had to understand so many different things that are outside of the football range. You know, you had the discussion of the dual citizenship players, that were all over. We try to identify talent, mainly certainly for Mexico. But also European talent, German Americans, Icelandic Americans, Norwegian Americans, and we had to figure out how to melt this all together. And that's what America is. America is the melting pot. And I'm part of it too. So I'm kind of an immigrant, first generation from my side. We took the team into the round of 16 with the game against Belgium in 2014. We came out of the group of death with Portugal, Ghana, and Germany, and that was a thriller. It was fantastic. And then 2016, we were honored to play in the Copa America, like they did, this year too, and went to the semifinals and lost in there against a very young Messi. They gave us a little lesson, and we lost in the semifinal then against Argentina. The job is a challenge of understanding the cultural background of every single player, of every single person that works in that part in that national team environment. Because that country is so big, the United States, there's a huge difference between players that come out of Texas or New York, New Jersey or California or, wherever their backgrounds are. And then forget about, then you come with the dual citizenship kids in as well. So to get them together and be on the same page and to play the best way football possible is a wonderful thing to work on. I mean, I did it for 5.5 years and I learned so much. I mean, it opens your brain towards a different way of thinking, different characters, and not always, you're on the same page. You have some arguments, you may have to make decisions that are not, very popular that I had to make, because I thought as a manager it's better for the team. Or for the success at the end of the day. But I mean, if you get that opportunity now, I know we're going to talk about Mauricio Pochettino in a second. You got to jump on that opportunity because coaching the United States is something very special.
In mid-October, Thomas Tuchel was announced as the new England manager just after we'd finished recording, so we rounded up the troops for an emergency pod.
An hour? It's a long time in football. Jamie, we had to bring him back from his lunch. Gary's been on the phone. We've had to put it down, Gary. You have to come back to It's Called Soccer because this is an emergency insert in the pod. Thomas Tuchel, who neither of you wanted, let's be fair, you both wanted an England manager, an English manager, but he is. I feel like it's happened so quick. A minute ago, we were talking about Lee Carsley was going to be the new manager. Jamie, your reaction?
Probably a little bit similar to what I said before. I mean, listen, there's no doubt he's one of the best managers certainly available. And I think, well, maybe if Gary's club in the future were looking at a manager, I think he would have been, right at the top of the list. I think for any big European club right now, if they change the manager, I think Thomas Tuchel will be in the top 2 or 3 names to get that job, for some of the biggest clubs. So there's no doubt the pedigree. He's one of the top managers in world football. He's a Champions League winning manager. And when a manager's won the Champions League, I always feel they always sit at a level, I feel, as if, it's a huge achievement for any manager, but it's like they've got that experience, they've got that charisma, they've got the ability, of course. So we know he's got all that. For me, yes, I think international football, and I've always believed it, and I always will, is your best be somebody else's best. Now, England, we would probably both agree if we look through the 11, let's say, for instance, we think Jordan Pickford's a good Premier League goalkeeper, but we don't think he's world class. That doesn't mean we go to another country and get a goalkeeper. That's my view on it, and that would be the same with the manager. That's not nothing against Thomas Tuchel, his ability. But I've never believed the manager is the ultimate sort of person who would get you across the line in a tournament. I always think international football is down to the players. I think it's slightly different with club football. I think the manager has such a bigger influence, and we've seen that with Thomas Tuchel in the club game. So it remains to be seen whether he can transform that to international football. But England have got a great manager. There's no doubt about that. But for me, I always think the England manager should be Englishman.
Does it feel right, Gary?
No, I mean, I can't, unfortunately, rewrite what I said before. And to be honest with you, I'm on record for 20 years. I think I was on record when Sven was appointed as saying that I thought it was the right decision at the time to go for a foreign manager to try and make England successful. We then went through 2, obviously, international managers. We went through Sven-Göran Eriksson and Fabio Capello. And off the back of that, plus the decline of English coaching in the Premier League and the opportunities for English coaching in the Premier League, I thought that basically with St George's Park coming, we should always appoint an English coach in the future. There's no doubting what Jamie said, that he was an outstanding coach, that he's one of the very best in the world. But I have to say that we can both think that and think that English coaching, to be fair tonight, suffers a lot again, I believe. There'll be fans who are delighted, who think it's all about the team winning. And if Thomas Tuchel wins a tournament, they will all be sat there celebrating, probably in the stadium, and thinking it's the most wonderful thing in the world and he'll become a hero. But the reality of it is we have not got an English coach managing our national team, and we've only really got Eddie Howe at the very top of the game in the Premier League. So the reality of it is, I'm not saying that English coaches deserve to be at the very top of the game at this moment in time, but how do you get there if you don't put them in the biggest atmospheres?
This episode of It's Called Soccer is in association with Allstate. Some people just know they could save hundreds of dollars on car insurance by checking Allstate first. It is always smart to check first. Like checking you've got the spelling right before you get your club's Latin motto tattooed on your arm. Or checking that you filled up with gas and packed the spare tyre before you set out on that epic road trip to the big game. And what if you booked those cup final tickets with a great view of the pitch, but realised you're seated right in the middle of the opposition fans? Checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. This content is intended for audiences in the US only. Savings vary, terms apply. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
The Brighton manager Fabian Hürzeler joined us on episode 5 to talk about his touchline temper, that's reared its head a few times, and his favourite places to eat.
Fabian, what stands out for us straight away is obviously you're very knowledgeable of the game, tactically where the team is set up, but also that you're quite passionate on the sidelines, and you're going to keep the officials quite busy. Is that something that we should expect? That was something that we were told when you came into the Premier League, and you haven't let us down.
So, I tried to improve. No, honestly, I collected a lot of yellow cards as a coach already at St. Pauli. But I know that I have to improve in some ways. But of course, I don't try to be artificial. I try to be emotional and passionate on the sideline. It's more about your personality, how you live the game, how you try to help your players. But honestly, when I watch the game afterwards in the scouting feed and I see sometimes my behavior, I think, what are you doing there, mate? That's unbelievable how you behave. I also try to...
You know that, Fabian, you know, when you get frustrated maybe on the side of the pitch or you get passionate, does that sometimes come from your own team, not actually... The game plan hasn't really gone to plan, or it might be a referee's decision. Yeah. Sometimes, because when I was a player, I was very passionate, but my frustration a lot of the time came actually with my own team rather than the opposition or the officials.
Yeah, I'm very like I said, ambitious, and of course, I also want that when you outwork like a match plan, that it works for sure. But I learned that it's not always possible. And then for me, it's very important. So, for example, when we look at the game against Tottenham, when I see that we don't do the basic things right, so even you can have like a really, really shit day, it's no problem. All the players will have one day a shit day, but there are always things you can influence on the pitch. So, how is the intensity on the pitch? How is the energy on the pitch? How much you run? How much you communicate? These are all things you can influence in every game, and these are the basic things. And if you do the basic things like all the time right, and all the time like 100%, I'm sure that you increase the percentage of winning. And I'm a big fan of these things, of these small things, of these small details, and the things you can influence. And if you don't do them right, then I put pressure on other players, because I know they can control them, and that's something what makes me angry if you don't do that.
Fabian, you should be a pundit or a commentator, because you never have a shit day when you're talking about the game.
Yeah, maybe one day, but now I'm really happy with my job.
Your predecessor, Roberto De Zerbi, said that he loved living in Brighton, but that the English food was a problem. He had to seek out a little Italian restaurant to enjoy his Italian spaghetti and everything that he would have. How are you dealing with the English food? It's great, right?
I'm good with my adaptations. Honestly, I love Asian food as well. So here's I do know a little bit commercial for Ivy Asia. I don't know if you know it. It's a great Asian food.
Okay. Throw it in there.
Love it.
Okay.
Honestly, I don't find a German restaurant so far, but we have like also great chefs here at the club. They do amazing food, and sometimes I already made some German wishes, and he completely fulfilled them. So I'm very happy with everything here.
Perfect.
They don't let Carragher in the Ivy, Fabian. He's not allowed in. No, he's not allowed in the Ivy.
No. No one from Liverpool has ever been in the Ivy.
When the United States' Antonee Robinson joined the show, he told us all about his football upbringing in Liverpool, why he plays fullback, and how he almost joined AC Milan.
I remember signing for Everton at like 11 years old, just playing Sunday League and thinking, like, I'm a joker, I'm going to be the best player in the world, I'm going to play for Everton at 16, like, life's going to be easy. And then through the academy, didn't go down that path, and I didn't really think, I'm going to be playing professional football. I didn't really see that path for me, so different points in my life, I probably wouldn't have assumed that, now I'd be 100-odd Premier League appearances deep, nearly 50 international games. So yeah, I'm very, very proud of myself for where I've reached, but I still think I've got more in me as well.
You look like you were born to be a fullback, Antonee. Was that always the plan?
No, I don't think anyone started as a fullback.
Jeez! The disrespect!
I used to be, I idolised like Henry growing up. I was like attacking player, left winger, right winger, top scorer, like through Sunday League and stuff, signed for Everton as a winger. And then I think I was about 15 and someone got injured and they were just like, you're left-footed, can you just drop back and play there? And then still got to attack, but learned to, enjoy the defending side of it. And it just kind of stuck with me then, really.
And speak to me about your background. We spoke before we got on about Everton, but you sound like the poshest Scouser I've ever heard. I mean, can I borrow that voice for TV?
Yeah, everyone will love that. I was born in Milton Keynes. Moved to Liverpool when I was 4 years old. Moved back for a year, then moved back to Liverpool. Obviously signed for Everton and stuff. Background-wise, my dad was born in Nottingham. Later moved to the States with his grandma, who's Jamaican. So, a lot of influences going on there and moving about. So, yeah, the accent, it's never been that strong. Obviously, when I'm like with my friends and stuff, it comes out a little bit more. And then you go and play in the States and you're with lads who wouldn't be able to understand the Scouse accent. So I have to like slow down and speak a little bit more calmly. But yeah, that's about it, really.
Antonee, just talking about that background, one of the sort of things that gets said about US players is sometimes that maybe they're not sort of tough as maybe players from around the world just because of how football is over there. Does that, obviously that background that you have growing up in Liverpool, can you give us a bit of sense of how you feel about that? Does your background in Liverpool and upbringing in Liverpool from a football perspective give you that added advantage maybe?
Yeah, potentially. Yeah, I mean, obviously, like you said, growing up in Liverpool, I was no stranger to, if I was just running around the pitch, dribbling with the ball all the time, people would just volley me. So yeah, definitely no stranger to that. And I remember even my first international call up with the under-18s, and putting in like tackles that I just thought were normal, like hard tackles, and like the guys in training, they were fuming at me and looking at me like I was weird. So there is a bit of that. I do think like the older we've got and the US lads, there is some of the tough boys on there. But English football, there definitely is a sense of like kicking people if they're showing off and whatnot.
Antonee, I want to ask you for a little bit of advice. You played fullback for Wigan, yeah?
Yeah.
My son's doing a job at the moment at fullback for Wigan, and when you were at Wigan, you almost got a move to AC Milan. I mean, how how does that even come about? Obviously, you're great performances. I'm not knocking you by any stretch of the imagination, but I mean, that's some journey, that, isn't it, from Wigan to AC Milan, and you just couldn't quite get the deal across the line. So if you're playing at Wigan, is the hope for everyone that AC Milan are watching?
It was obviously a strange one that kind of came out the blue, and it's surreal for a lad, you know, who's playing at Wigan to be on the phone to Maldini saying he's looking forward to working me and things like that. Definitely doesn't seem right.
Me and Gary could have done with a call to Maldini at some stages through our career, actually.
Next is a clip where we discuss the elder statesman of the game and whether the chaps think they could still do a bit.
Chaps, just before we go, little line for you. So you might have seen, and everybody listening and watching, that Luka Modric, who at 39 years old and 40 days, he made history by becoming the oldest player to appear in a competitive match for Real Madrid. And Francesco Totti this week talking about how he's still receiving offers from Serie A clubs, he said that he would take him 2 or 3 months training to get back to playing fitness. And Gary, a little birdie told me that on your overlap on tour show, you actually said that you reckon you could play a Premier League game. I think it started with it saying you could play a Premier League game, and then it just very slowly got down to about 10 minutes in a League Two game.
I think I could play one Premier League game now, just one. Can we do that on the overlap? One Premier League game?
Against Man United.
Jamie, I like it.
I want 20 minutes in the Premier League game.
I don't want to play no more.
Do against who could you call?
League 2, 20 minutes.
League 2?
League 2, 20 minutes. No, just something. There is sometimes I look at a game and think, what would I be like out there now for 10 minutes? Now, to be honest with you, I'm not ignorant enough to realise that the game has moved on a mountain, because the reason I retired 10, 12 years ago was because I couldn't actually keep up with it then. But it's just the actual feeling of being out there on the pitch for 10 minutes in a Premier League game or a League 2 game at the age of, I'm nearly 50. It would be amazing, that, wouldn't it, really? I wonder if you could do that or sort that out almost like a wish.
You are the owner of an EFL club.
Oh yeah, I could sign on, couldn't I? I could just sign myself on for Saturday away at Colchester. Get in.
Have a little go of it.
The Colchester players would be queuing up with their elbows.
Yeah, they would. Jamie, could you still do a little job at the back?
Oh no, I don't even play five-a-side now. No, I'm not arrogant enough as Gary to think I could do that, something like that. You know what I mean? I mean, listen, I think, you know what I do sometimes think I would be able to do? You know when you play like small-sided games in training? I actually think if I was dropped into sort of a Liverpool 8v8 across a pitch, forget the full 11v11, but I think I could last in a game for sort of 15-20 minutes of an 8v8, like a training game.
No, honestly, Johnny, it sounds crazy. I think you'd get exposed more in a small-sided game. So let's say we were both playing for Liverpool, which is just the unthinkable. But if you just put me in alongside Van Dijk for 10 minutes at the end of a match, and Robertson, let's say, I'd have to move Van Dijk to the right because I'd have to be in between Roberts. I couldn't cover that right-hand side when Trent goes forward or into midfield. So Van Dijk's right centre-back, I'm sort of there next to him, and then Robertson's left-back just sitting in a little bit. I think 10 minutes you could probably do, Karen. I reckon you could do that.
Right.
I mean, if we had the ball, yeah.
That is the headline. If Gary could just slot himself in alongside Van Dijk.
Gary, that's what we want from the Mail, isn't it? Gary Neville could play alongside Virgil van Dijk for 10 minutes for Liverpool.
Yeah.
This is going to go viral, this episode.
Would you take a penalty at the World Cup with your weaker foot? Well, Brandi Chastain did just that, and she told us all about it when we caught up with her in New York City.
That penalty in that moment really changed everything in this country, and it changed everything for you. Just tell the story again of the moment that you knew you were up next.
Well, leading into going to the center of the field, as you have experience, you go to the sideline, you're getting water, you're probably an ice towel because it's 120 degrees in the Rose Bowl, and everybody's just kind of taking a moment to decompress from what had just happened, 120 minutes of incredible football back and forth. And then our assistant coach came up to me, her name is Lauren Gregg, and she said, okay, you want to take a penalty? And I kind of drew back. I remember thinking, why are you asking me? Because in the run of play, I would have been the person to take the penalty.
So you were the penalty taker?
Yeah, I was
Number one.
Okay. Michelle Akers and I, but Michelle was out of the game. And so I said, yeah, of course. Yeah, and she goes, okay, good. And then she wandered off. Again, drinking, whatever. And then next thing, Tony DeCicco, our coach, our late coach, comes up and he puts his hand on my shoulder and he's like, okay, you're going to take a penalty. I said, yep. I talked to Lauren, no problem, I got it. He goes, okay, you're going to take it with your left foot. And it was like he ran away. Shoo. Didn't think twice about it. Okay.
Hang on. Just for anyone who doesn't know, are you right-footed or left-footed?
No, I'm gonna get to it.
Okay, get to it.
I'm gonna get to it. So then we go to the middle, and because it's like one of those really intense moments, like I missed the order. I didn't hear where my name was in the order. But then we got out there and I was like, well, I don't want to mess with anybody else's process, so I'm not going to ask. So they'll tell me when it's my turn. So, right? So part of what you need to know about being there for that penalty kick was earlier in the year, we had played China in the Algarve and we had a penalty. And when I took the ball from the referee, I placed it down and I looked up and the goalkeeper was standing right there. And she is awesome. Quirky character, really fun-loving personality, but she smiled and winked and I was like, what the hell is going on? Like, totally got me out of sorts. And she went back. Referee blows the whistle. I hit the ball. It hits the crossbar, goes out. We end up losing that game. So the only thing going through my head at this time is don't look at the goalkeeper. Don't look at the goalkeeper. 90,000 people couldn't have been any more quiet. Like, it was like deafening. So Brianna Scurry makes a save on the third kicker. I knew we've won. I'm extremely confident, no problem. So I go up, I take the ball, I don't look up, I place it down, I back up, I tap my toe, I wait for the whistle. And I approach it as I would every other day. And I'm gonna put it in the back of the net, and I take it with my left foot. So Rebecca's asking, am I right or left-footed? I'm both, I would say, but I had never taken a penalty with my left foot in a game before.
In November, we all headed to the ballot to make a big decision, you might remember. So I thought, perfect timing, let's get Gary to make a few big decisions of his own.
It's election day in America, which is really rather stressful, I won't deny. Big week of decisions.
That's why I've worn my Bruce t-shirt.
I know, look at that. Born in the USA, Bruce Springsteen. Right, so what have you dropped? Have you dropped your headphone?
I've dropped my earpiece.
Oh, crikey. Go on, get it.
Here we go, carry on, don't worry, I can still hear you.
So, rather, obviously it's a day of decision making. So we thought we'd end the podcast with a few decisions by you. These are hard questions. You're not allowed to pass on them. I apologise in advance.
Political
All political.
decisions.
The first question is, would you rather have a Chinese takeaway or a chippy tea?
Oh.
Chippy tea, for anyone watching or listening, by the way, I have to explain that, is fish and chips. And it's not fish and crisps, it's not fish and potato chips like Lay's. This is just for the Americans listening. It's fries, but they're thick and chunky and they soak up all the vinegar. Okay, carry on.
Yeah, I mean, I to be honest with you, if I went to the chippy, I would have pudding, chips, peas and gravy, which again would need another level of explanation, pudding? I think, over in there. So basically, a pudding is a suet pudding with steak inside it, and then you put gravy over it with mushy peas and chips. Come over to when next time you're over in England.
No, is that the kidney? Do you have kidneys in there too?
Yeah, I don't like steak and kidney pudding. I like steak pudding. So it's like a braised beef inside it. It's absolutely beautiful, honestly. I'm going to go for the Chinese takeaway because I don't like fish actually, so that's why you said fish and chips. Okay. I'm going to go for a Chinese takeaway because it's a beautiful thing. The idea of being
What's the order?
So I would have salt and pepper spare ribs.
Right. Dry.
Have you heard of those?
Yeah, I have, but they're a bit dry. I like mine to have a little bit of, sauce on them. So they're
no, I like... Yeah, I don't like barbecue spare ribs. It's all over your fingers and all over your... So no, salt and pepper spare ribs. Right. I don't mind a bit of chicken and sweet corn soup. I do love prawn crackers. I love Cantonese fillet steak. I do like chips with it, which going back to your previous statement is thicker fries. I like Singapore vermicelli and I do like fried rice.
You've ruined that with chips. Are you a duck pancake man?
Oh, I like duck pancakes.
Oh,
I like
love a duck pancake. Okay, I know the answer to this question. Early bird or night owl?
Oh, early bird, definitely.
Yeah. Did you know that I read a book once that said that you are scientifically one or the other? Everybody is one or the other. And basically, whichever one you are, you have to lean into that. So if you are by nature a night owl, stop trying to go to bed at like 9 p.m. because that's just not you. I find that so interesting. And if you think about it, everybody I can think of in my life, it's true. They're either a night owl or an early bird.
I just don't get this idea of staying up watching television till 1 o'clock in the morning or 12 o'clock at night, and then getting up at like 9 o'clock or half 9. Look, honestly, I go to bed at 10 o'clock latest. So tonight I'm going to watch Sporting Lisbon and Manchester City. I'm going to look at our new manager, Manchester United's new manager, Ruben Amorim. I'm going to watch the game. I'll be just falling asleep in the last sort of remnants of the match, about 9:45, 9:50 here in Manchester. And then I'll fall asleep and I'll be up at 5. I'll go to the gym and I'm delighted. Do we sound really boring and old on this podcast?
Yeah, I think we are. I think you and I sound like a right laugh. We sound like a great night out, you and I. Okay, win the Premier League or win the Champions League? These are supposed to be quick fire, by the way.
Premier League.
Playing home games, playing away games?
Home games.
Stone Roses or Bruce Springsteen?
Oh,
well, you didn't wear a Stone Roses t-shirt. That's all I'm saying.
Do you know something? Because the Stone Roses are no longer playing together, but they are like a spirit in Manchester. At this moment in time, Bruce Springsteen is making me seriously emotional. The Road to Diary documentary that came out last week or the week before, the Letters to You album that came out a few years ago, just the way in which his concerts in Europe over the last few years have been sensational. I adore him. He's coming to Manchester next May and I just cannot wait. So I'm going to go Bruce Springsteen. It's tapping into my nostalgic side at the moment.
Winter or summer?
Winter.
Yeah, me too.
I don't want that California. I don't want that California stuff. Get me away from there. That's San Francisco stuff.
You're so Manchester.
In episode 9, Hollywood actor and Arsenal fanatic Will Poulter joined us, and some of the It's Called Soccer community got in touch with some questions.
Our first one, though, comes from an Arsenal goal-scoring legend, the man that is Ian Wright.
No way. Oh, my God.
Hey, Will, how you doing? It's Righty. I just wanted to ask you something, because you know about superheroes. You're a superhero anyway. I want to ask you a question about Nev and Carragher and being Batman and Robin. Out of them two, who's Batman, who's Robin?
Good. So Righty's properly stitched me up. That's great. That is hilarious. I mean, how do I even answer? It's so funny because obviously, Gary, with yourself and Jamie, you know, I grew up watching you, and anytime you played Arsenal, I was against you, and then of course when you were playing for England, I was for you. So you know, you're certainly not villains in my eyes, and then I suppose because you spent the majority of the season wearing, you know, the enemy's kit, I couldn't say heroes. You're both more interesting than that. You're kind of anti-heroes.
Good answer, by the way. This is a good answer.
That like exist in the grey area.
He's been nice. He's been nice, Rebecca.
Need the answer to the question, Will. Need the answer to the question.
This is a politician's answer for you. I don't think Batman and Robin is quite right, though.
Oh, no.
I don't think that's...
Will, Carragher's quite good at Robin.
He's not here, so I guess I'd have to deal with it. So I guess you're Batman, Gary. And then I guess Carragher's Robin, and if I run into him, I run into him.
Well, you're not going to run into him anytime soon, but he has got a question for you.
Hi, Will. Jamie Carragher here. I just want to throw a little question at you. So you've mixed with the elite, shall we say, in Hollywood. So from your experience, who would you pick as your perfect five-a-side team from people you've bumped into or worked with in Hollywood?
Well, that's a good one.
That's a great one. Five-a-side. That's really good. Gosh, I'm going to get some stick if I don't mention some people who fancy themselves on the soccer pitch. I'd have to first go with my friend Colin Bikini, who's in Ted Lasso, plays Isaac. He's a very good footballer. And funnily enough, I actually was the person, I think, who filmed him doing keepy-uppies. He had to send in a tape on top of his acting, you know, or whatever scene he was required to perform. he had to show, signs of, and to anyone with a set of ears, he'll tell you he had trials for West Ham. So I knew that Collar was going to be all right. I'm wondering, I feel like I should put Jason Sudeikis in there too, because I'm just assuming that he can play, but I've actually not seen evidence of that. Jason Sudeikis.
I mean, you're playing, aren't you? You're in. You're in.
Can I pick myself?
You're definitely picking yourself.
Okay.
You've only got to name two more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll pick myself. I'm incredibly slow these days, so I'll just be doing minimal work. But
you need a goalkeeper.
Yeah, I need a goalkeeper. Do you know what? I will throw in my friend Finn Bennett. Finn, who was in the latest season of True Detective, and I just shot a film called Warfare with Finn. Finn's class.
Doesn't have to be all men, by the way. I mean, Jennifer could make the cut.
I was going to put Kaya Scodelario in, who's also an Arsenal fan, and Kaya can play. Okay. So that would be my five.
All right, I love it. Okay, brilliant. All right, a couple of questions from some Arsenal fans for you. Just quick fire ones. We won't keep you much longer. Elliot Smith.
Hey, Will. My name's Elliot Smith. I'm the host of the Arsenal Vision podcast. I'm curious to know, of all the characters you've played, which one would most likely be an Arsenal supporter?
It would be Chef Luca from The Bear, because I actually made him an Arsenal fan. When I got to design my tattoos, I had about 3 different Arsenal tattoos. I had a cannon on my arm. I had AFC somewhere, and one other. But yeah, Chef Luca would have been an Arsenal fan. And funnily enough, for that job, I did all my training in North London and in Islington. So I worked in restaurants in that area that are quite close to the stadium. So my friend, Chef Conor Gadd, who runs Trulo, which is not far from the stadium, I worked at his place, and he's a big Arsenal fan.
Proper method preparation. I love it. Okay. And Frimpon, who works full time with Arsenal.
What's going on, Will? Frimmy here. I hope you are good, but I have a quick question. In The Bear, your character has many of his favourite tattoos, including an Arsenal one, yeah? So you got to be honest with me. Would you ever consider getting the Arsenal ink for real? Let me know.
I actually do. I don't know if I can show it.
Yes, you can.
It's one of those
definitely
things.
Show it.
I might be able to show. I mean, like, not because it's inappropriate, but just because it's just an awkward placement. But I don't know if you can see.
Oh, we've got is it a calf?
I stand on.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
It's a calf.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
There we go.
Got it.
There you go.
That's impressive.
So, yeah, so I have. I've never shown that in public, so there you go. That's an exclusive.
Yo, Will, I have a question for you. Okay, I know you're an Arsenal fan, so am I. As you can see, this legendary shirt. If you can play any Arsenal legend, or anyone in general that's played for Arsenal, in a movie, who would it be and why?
That's a good question. Oh my gosh, I mean, I'd love to... Jack Wilshere. I'm just trying to think about something. I'm a little bit lankier than Jack, and I've got about 0.1% of the skill, so it wouldn't be an ideal casting match. But oh my gosh, Jack was just one of my favorite players. And I think about like performances that he put in against like some of the like one of the best Barcelona sides ever. Yeah. You know, in Champions Leagues at the age of 18, I think he was, or 19, and dominating midfield. It's like, yeah, and such a shame. I think everyone, you know, really kind of laments how much injuries kind of plagued him and held him back. But what a guy.
Okay, Morgan from Los Angeles.
Hey, Will, it's Morgan from Arsenal Los Angeles. If you could take any Arsenal player, past or present, to a movie premiere, who would you take and what movie would you see?
It's Cesc Fabregas. I think for me, I only say that because I've met Righty already, and he's so lovely, and I've had the opportunity to meet him, but never met Cesc, and he just kind of when I think about like the most kind of meaningful years watching Arsenal, Cesc, the person who comes to mind. One of my favourite players to watch playing the game, and I think really intrigued by what he's up to as a manager now as well. You know. So probably have a good conversation afterwards.
Former Pro Bowler Josh Norman came on the show and bonded with Gary about the similarities between playing cornerback and fullback.
Did you ever pick Gary Neville or Jamie Carragher in your FIFA team?
Did I ever do the character FIFA? My FIFA?
No, you can't understand him. I'll translate for you, Josh.
Okay, we're too far away. You're all over the pond. We can't reach you. Can't translate.
So, Josh, what he said was, did you ever select Jamie Carragher or Gary Neville on your FIFA team?
Oh no, I didn't. It's kind of crazy, right? That's what I'm saying. Like, yo, the Warrior kind of don't know all the players, don't know the whole game, but it's just. No, man, I didn't. Fortunately.
That's okay.
Guess what? It's okay. It's okay, Jimmy. Trust me. Next time I know, I'm a slick, okay? I'm slick.
Josh, you play cornerback.
Yes.
So I played in soccer fullback. Is your position the same as mine? So I play on the outside of the defence.
So, Gary, where you played at?
I played at Manchester United.
Man, you.
Yes. And I played right back, which is the corner of the defence. So your cornerback's in the same position. We are.
See, I know a little something. See, the thing is with me, when I was in LA, I was playing a little bit of it. When I was training, I actually was out there training because on soccer players, they run so much.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how many miles you guys run in a game, but like it's up there. You're ticking. And to play that long and run that long, like, geez, more power to you guys. But I also say, man, our position is kind of one of the toughest positions to play, as you know. Well, I mean, I'm just saying, like, he's the. Come on, Josh. Come on. You can't kid us. No, and then he got to hit the ball. Like, if he's passing the ball, he's got to hit somebody straight down the line or all across this. Josh, can you hear me? Can you understand me? I can hear you and understand you, Jamie. Perfect. Well, in England, in the game soccer, fullback is the position where normally the worst player in the team goes. Now, is that the same for cornerback?
Wow.
That's crazy. Well, cornerbacks is in the top 3 positions in our game. No, it's the quarterback. I mean, I'll arguably say it's ours first. I mean, because guess why? It's always a 2-on-1 game. The wide receiver knows where he's going, the quarterback knows where he's throwing. But I got to figure out between both of them how to stop their play. Because I don't know the play, but they know it. And I got to be there before they even get there. That's hard. So is it about stopping the game? Not going like fullback. Yes, that's what I'm saying. So you got a quarterback, obviously got to know everything. You got to do all the switches. And then left tackle, because they got to stop the DNs that's running directly at them. So we in the top 3, man. That's why I say your job is hard too. Don't let Jamie come over here and bully you out of that.
Exactly, Josh. Josh, can I ask you a question? The only thing Jamie's right on, when you play fullback in soccer, you get paid less usually than the other positions. What about cornerback? Does cornerback get paid less as well?
Well, Jamie we actually don't. Trust me. Like, we should be getting paid more now. We set the bar for that. But at the same time, we get a little bit lesser than the wide receivers, which they get a lot. Josh, is the cornerback getting paid more than the fullback for this podcast? No.
Ahead of a huge game at Wembley against England, the US women's national team head coach Emma Hayes joined us, and we had some questions for her about nerves and national anthems.
How are you feeling about this game coming up now? How are you feeling about it emotionally? Are you feeling slightly different, a little bit more on edge, or are you quite relaxed?
No, you know what? I'm always all right until my mum says something about it. and I'm like, yeah, I'm fine with it, and then someone will say to my mum, who are you supporting? And it's like, she's like, England, of course. And I'm like, and then I look at her and she's like, with USA as well. Like, she almost feels like she has this duty to me after her country. Aww. Which I respect. I think the emotional bit, like, I'm really proud to be English. I really am, and I've loved nothing more. I love nothing more than my country. So yeah, it feel a bit weird being at Wembley and not representing England. But then my competitor hat goes on, and I think I'm an adopted American, and while I'm in charge of this country, I know I'll give everything for the badge, because that's how I work. So I don't believe that I don't know how to put it. I can still love my country and love working for the US all at once. I don't believe I have to choose, and I don't believe it has to be a negative either. They're two wonderful national anthems that I love to sing, to be honest with you. Just because I love singing, I hum.
Just sing them both, Emma. Just sing them both.
I do. I even hum the French and the Italian ones when they're on, because I think they're the most upbeat one. Like, when I used to be a commentator, I used to always listen to the national anthems for international football. So I used to learn them, because I used to that was the period when the commentators used to have to listen in. So yeah, I'll enjoy that pass. But once it kicks off, I want to win the game as much as Serena wants to win the game, and I'll be coaching to try and do that.
Will you sing both on Saturday or not? I mean, I've not thought about that much, really.
I think I'll just, they'll mull around in my head, and then I'll be standing there thinking, some camera is going to be panned in on me, and whichever choice I make, it's going to be one that creates a talking point. So perhaps I'll just stay in silence for both.
When the holidays arrived, Gary thought it was the perfect timing to try and test me with a Thanksgiving quiz. Try being the operative word. Gary, we're all done. I will see you next week.
Oh, let me just stop you there, my American friend. You were talking about Thanksgiving before, but we have actually prepared a Thanksgiving quiz.
Oh,
so
brilliant. Just what I wanted.
Let's find out about how actual American you are.
Oh, no. I passed the test already. I got the citizenship.
Yeah,
That's me.
You're voting and contributing to the sort of national vote, yet your knowledge of Thanksgiving needs to be... You need to get at least 7 out of 10. There's 10 questions, you need to get at least 7. To be able to vote in the next election. This should be the actual metrics that we go off. So here we go. Right. What is the name of the ship that brought the Pilgrims to America?
That is so mean. I do know the answer to that, and I momentarily slipped my mind. But could you maybe give me the first letter?
Pardon?
Could you give me the first letter?
Sorry. What do you think this is? It's like you're not 6. You know what I mean? It's what you do with 6-year-olds.
Can I phone a friend?
I'll give you the first letter then on this particular one. It begins with M.
Mayflower.
Oh, you're wrong. You knew that.
Yes, I knew it. You're
right. Your second question? What year was the first Thanksgiving feast held?
I think I know this. It's either 1691 or 1621, and I'm going to go with 1621.
Oh, you knew this. You've looked up before this.
Honestly, you have to know about America. Anyway,
have they fed you the answers?
No,
the producers?
No, I have no access to Google at all.
But you know this one because you said the answer earlier on in the show. Where was the first Thanksgiving held?
That was Plymouth, but was it Massachusetts or Maine? I'm going to go Massachusetts.
Correct. 3 out of 3.
Okay.
In 1860, currently you're online to be able to vote in the 2028 elections. In 1863, which US president proclaimed the last Thursday in November to be a national day of Thanksgiving?
This is unfair. This is unfair because if I don't get this right, it will be embarrassing, right? Because I'll name somebody who's probably long dead. I'm going to go Abraham Lincoln, but I think that is a terrible answer.
It is Abraham Lincoln.
It is.
That one.
Yes.
You're one of those people that build up the suspense yourself and then say, "Oh, this is it's Abraham Lincoln." 4 out of 4. What is the most? Well, you must know this. What is the most commonly main dish served at Thanksgiving?
Yeah, it's turkey.
But you can't.
Roast turkey.
Turkey is a Christmas dish, it's not a Thanksgiving dish.
Well, it is in America. At Christmas, they have a ham or a beef joint or a prime rib, as they call it. Yeah, but here, turkey is for Thanksgiving. You don't have turkey at Christmas here. We do in our house, but you don't in a normal American house. So it's turkey, sweet potatoes, mashed potatoes. Sometimes they do sweet potatoes with marshmallows on top. Yes, they do. And they sort of like melt them down. All sorts of sides. Green bean casserole is another big dish. Ask me about the food and I can tell you the answers.
How many turkeys are prepared for Thanksgiving each year?
Okay, so 350 million people, that's got to be 200 million households. I'm going with 150 million?
150 million turkeys.
What?
Turkeys are about this big. You don't need one turkey you don't need one turkey per person.
No, but there's 350 million people, so I'm thinking 150 million, one for every 3 people. No? It's not good maths, that, is it? What's the answer? What's the answer?
The answer is 46 million.
Oh,
I would have given you.
well,
I would have
that's
given you.
good then.
I would have given you within 5 million each way, or 3 or 4 million each way. What is the most eaten side dish on Thanksgiving? I mean,
that's got to be stuffing. If that's considered a side dish,
it is.
Well, it's stuffing.
Well, obviously it's stuffing turkey.
Honestly, I'm actually amazing at this quiz. By the way, I'm amazing at this quiz. Carry on next.
Which 2 NFL teams have hosted a game on Thanksgiving Day every year since 1966?
Dallas Cowboys, the America's team, it's called. And is it the Detroit Lions?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
Thank you.
7 out of 8. Yeah. What famous department store hosts a Thanksgiving Day parade?
Macy's.
Is that what you got?
Macy's.
Do you have is Macy's in New York? It is in New York.
Yeah. Yeah. The Macy's Thanksgiving Day
That's
parade.
8 out of 9. And last question: which balloon character has often appeared in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade?
Balloon?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have got it. I know the character. I do know the character. You will know the character.
I mean, maybe a little tiny clue on that, or no clues.
No, because you've already got 8, so no, you're not giving a clue. No.
No, pass. Don't know.
Snoopy.
Oh, Snoopy. Okay.
And there's a
didn't know that.
No, I didn't know that either. There's a last question, which is not whether you can't get this wrong or right, or right or wrong. What, Rebecca, are you thankful for this year?
Oh, for you, Gary.
Thank you very much.
Thankful for you. And
Thank
that's
you
the
so
end
much.
of the pod.
That is the correct answer.
Why have one, Robbie, when you can have 2? And that's exactly what we had for episode 12.
Rebecca, you've worked with the 2 Robbies. You've also started working with the 2. Well, not the 2. You know, the 2 Nobbies. Is that what we're going to be called? Come on, dish the dirt on us all. I mean, what's it like working with us? What's it like working with them? What are the differences?
It's funny actually, because I was saying to the 2 Robbies this past weekend that Gary in the studio, I've only worked with him. How many? You've been over once? Haven't you been over once? Twice. You've been over twice. You've been over twice. Once? Either way.
Once.
But I even though I work with you on the podcast every week, I still haven't yet picked up, and I certainly haven't with you, Jamie, yet either, your little kind of signals of when you're going to stop talking or whether you finish your point. Or so with Mustoe, we get the nostril flare. I know the nostril flare when he wants to get in and talk. The nostrils flare, I'm like, Mustoe wants to get in. Earle's got a finger, which he puts up like that, when he wants to get in after Mustoe. I also know the cadence of their voice so bloody well that I know exactly when they're going to finish. And as you know, you can't waste any seconds on on our show. You've got to get in. So I can't wait a couple of seconds to see if they finish. I just got to get straight in and go to break or whatever. So I need to know, Jamie and Gary, have we got nostrils? Have we got fingers? I don't know what we've got. I haven't worked it out yet, but I'm going to work it out at some point. It's so crucial.
I don't think you will. We're like the Peter Beagrie and Doku of punditry. You're just not going you haven't got a clue what we're going to do next. We haven't got a clue.
We made a trip to New York City and caught up with household name TV royalty in the United States, John Oliver. Oh, and big Liverpool fan.
We need you to finish with a passionate plea to camera to try and convince Alexander-Arnold, Salah and Van Dijk to stay at your club. Yeah, I'm praying that...
John Oliver,
you want
that?
You want that? No, I absolutely want them out in an instant. I mean, they're causing me great issues. But, as a Liverpool fan...
Mo, first, if you want to go, it's fine, Mo. You've given more than enough. But I would ask you to think, do you want to go? Will you be loved more elsewhere than you're loved right now? I'd argue not. Again, if you want to go, I want what's best for you. I feel like a wife who's being left saying, I want you to be happy with her, Mo. And I hope that she's as good to you as I've been to you. So, Mo, please don't go, though. Please don't leave. No one will love you more than Liverpool loves you. But if you want to go, it's fine. Please don't. Verge, the foundations of a building can't leave. Otherwise, the building falls down. Right? when you're the cornerstone of a building, you do not have the kind of flexibility that the roof has. The roof can go and you can fly another one in. You actually can't go. Mo can choose to, you can't. Trent, lad, talk to Gerrard. He nearly went as well. Don't do it. What, is Madrid nice in February? I doubt it. I haven't heard many good things about it. You know where you want to be, Trent. Merseyside in February. You want a nice low grey sky. Aperitifs are not what they're cracked up to be.
He's going, isn't he?
That's going. He's definitely going.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
John.
They don't stay now. I mean,
I've done all I could, but yeah, if you do go, Mo, then have a great life. Have a great life, Mo.
That is it. That's our best bits from the season so far. Wishing everybody a very Merry Christmas from Gary and I. We will see you very soon, and Happy New Year, and loads more coming your way from It's Called Soccer.
Have a wonderful Christmas, everyone.
It's going on. 1,000% is going on. It's fine.
Tight.
It's not. Well, it's fine.
It's very tight.